The spiritual elders, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, spiritual helpers. Personally, to my teacher, Master Chakok Sui, Mahagu Jimeling, we thank you for divine light, divine love. Thank you for compassionate, purifying light, and soothing, healing energy. We thank you in full faith. So it is. All right, welcome. So I share with the morning group that I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it tonight, but the schedule worked out, so we can definitely make this meditation work. And so, just a short lesson again. I hope you guys don't mind. Uh, meditation is good. It has cleansing effect, healing effect, but the development of the mental faculty and the emotional faculties are equally as important. And of course, it goes without saying, make sure that you have a body that will support a brain and all the senses to be able to take it all in. So, as most of you know, we've been using Chinese proverbs a lot because part of it, my body's Chinese, so that kind of helps. And the other part is I just like it because it's just a short one sentence or two sentences the most, and it drives home a deep message. And the one that I'm working with today, it says, he, of course, he, she, it, they, whatever. The person who returns from a journey is not the same as the one that left. Okay? So the person that returns from a journey is not the same as the one that's left. Okay? As the one who left. So that can be looked at in many different perspectives. I'm talking more about the soul, the spiritual self. And as the soul is in the body, right? You already know that. We've gone through that hundreds of times. So you are a soul with a body, not a body with a soul. Make sense? You are a soul with a body, not a body with a soul. Okay, let's do that clarification here. If you're a body with a soul, once the body dies, kaput, end of story. Then you're wasting your time here. But you're a soul that has a body. So that spiritual self, that energy being with consciousness, has a body that it uses. All right? So this so-called journey can be looked at in many different perspectives. That could be easily a book, but let's make it oversimplified for now. So just as a short lesson before we go to our meditation. One perspective that is the soul being made of pure energy and light wants to learn lessons. And perfection is the objective. Okay? Because I've heard people say, oh, I'm already perfect. They make that affirmation, I'm perfect. All right, well, if somebody's really critical or cynical, say, oh, you're perfect, how come you got, life's a big fat mess? Obviously, it's not. So you strive for perfection. Make sense? However, this journey towards perfection is what you call evolution. Because if you're already perfect, you're wasting your time here. In fact, you shouldn't be listening. You know everything. Right? So evolution involves a certain time, a process, and screw ups. All of us know that. So the idea is the soul is pure, comes from God, but not yet perfect. So the soul is spiritual energy that has consciousness that's pure, but has not yet evolved. Make sense? Or not evolved enough that it knows, it's not everything, but substantially know enough. So in this process of learning lessons, that's what you call the journey of the soul. And in order to learn lessons, the soul has to have instruments to gather data. Think about it. If you go to a place, you go, oh, you know what I learned when I went to this place? It's cold, and it's noisy, and whatever other stuff you want to say. Food is terrible, for example. Well, how did you know that? Well, first of all, if you don't have a body that could register that, you wouldn't know what's cold or hot. If you don't have a tongue with a mouth and all that, you won't be able to taste whether the food is good or bad. And you didn't have ears, you won't know if it's noisy or not. Make sense? So you cannot come back and say, by the way, what I learned from that journey was that place is this. Well, if you don't have a body with all those sensors, then you can't get information to tell someone whether something is good or bad, positive, negative, intense or not intense. Same thing with the soul, the spiritual self. So when the soul wants to learn lessons, it has to go in, carne, which is meat, right? It has to incarnate. It needs to put itself into a physical form that has a brain, that has a body, has a senses, can feel, touch, taste, smell, has an emotional form that is able to emotionally connect with people and learn what it's like to be hurt, emotionally, how to be happy and ecstatic, a mental faculty to process information and to be able to share it. So that conglomerate of data that's being gathered, processed, and utilized is what you call the journey of the soul. So every time the soul goes through a certain lifetime or incarnation, it does not leave the body the same way that it came in. Hopefully. If not, then that's a sore, terrible lifetime. It's like you didn't learn anything in that 20, 40, 50, 100 years. Well, I think the average lifespan is like 70, 80, somewhere there. So let's say in that 80, 90 years of being in the body, you didn't learn anything. What a waste. Make sense? So that's one perspective. Like the person that is coming back is not the same thing that left. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it on a smaller level is we ask ourselves, in the past, how many years that you're aware of your spiritual path? You started to do meditation, you started doing affirmations to be a better person, to serve others. Let's just whatever each one of you is kind of sectioning off part of your life as this is the start of my spiritual path up to, let's say, now and until whenever. So the question is, since you started, when that person entered that journey, started that journey, all to where you are today, has there been any improvement? How's your level of inner peace? How do you handle crisis? Have you been more kind, more loving, more forgiving? Have you had more joy in your life, even though there's nothing to be joyful about? How were you in the past couple of years, with the pandemic and all that? How were you able to handle it? If the person that started the path was in that situation, how would that person would happen compared to you looking back in those year and a half, 2 years, how you handle it? Was there any improvement? Like, yeah, if this happened 5 years ago, I would have been all over the place. I would have panicked, but somehow last year I kept it together. Good. So the one that is entering the spiritual path and they progress, if they look back, they go, oh, I'm not that person anymore. This soul is not the same soul. It's the same soul, but you know what I mean, that they have evolved. Now, in the spirit of trying to keep moving forward, you have to give yourself benchmarks. Benchmarks. Just when you think you're succeeding, raise the bar. Just when you think I'm more loving, raise the bar. Just when you think you're, having more inner peace, raise the bar. I know what you guys are saying. Yeah, but that's stressful. Well, it's a matter of perspective. You see, you cannot realize your full potential until you keep raising the bar. Remember, you don't want to be the same soul now compared to before. And as you keep raising the bar, your soul is actually accelerating. It's not just evolving, it's accelerating. And that's what you want. Make sense? I'm sharing this with you so that you don't slack off. Because some people say, oh, yeah, I've done 30 years of this yoga and that meditation. I'm in cruise mode. No such thing. No such thing. You might slow down in your meditations because you want to focus a little more on work or family, whatever. But no such thing as cruising because the soul is constantly learning. Even in your family life, in your work life, the soul is constantly getting information, processing it. Okay, how can I make this better? What mistakes did I do? What screw ups did I have? How do I make this better? The soul, the spiritual self, is constantly moving forward. And so you might as well be conscious of it and direct it. Make sense? So I hope that this short proverb has really helped you because when I read it and I was meditating and I go, the one that returns is not the same one that left on that journey. Well, the first question is who's going and coming? Ah, that's the soul. And what's the journey? It's the journey which the soul is embarking in its way towards God or perfection. Make sense? In other words, to put it in plain English rather than some weirdo Chinese ancient proverb, constant and never-ending improvement. That's to quote Tony Robbins and you know his events. Constant and never-ending improvement. Can I? CANI. People think that's just for. They just think that it's just for success in your what do you call this? In your finances, in your relationship. No, that's also the soul evolving, constant and never-ending improvement. That's what you call evolution. But here's the difference. Listen carefully. For probably the general public, and I don't say it in the demeaning way, I'm just kind of differentiate the person who's awake in the path and the ones who are just kind of, you know, going with the stream and have no clue. Okay? For the ones who are aware of it, you are constantly trying to be better, to have more inner peace, more stillness, more compassion, so on. So there has to be continuously, for make it a little airy fairy, going towards the light. You ask people, what does that mean? They go, sounds like a spiritual thing to say. In other words, if we look at who we are today, how am I today compared to last year? If it's the same, it's a complete waste of time. There has to be some improvement. If there's worse, well, better wake up. Make sense? So even on the soul level, there has to be constant and never-ending improvement. So hopefully, as you keep joining us for our meditations and listening to me, yak, 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 you've gotten something out of it that you've at least improved compared to before we started together. All right? So I'm sharing that with you so that you get to realize that you're a multi-dimensional being. You have a physical form. You have an emotional form, what you call the emotional body. You have a mental body, and of course you have the other spiritual bodies. I'm not going to go through that right now, but to just kind of take an inventory. How are my emotions? How are my thoughts? How's my level of inner peace? How do I handle this? How do I handle that? The act of questioning allows the soul to take an inventory and say, wait, how's my control over the body? How's my control of my emotions, my thoughts? Yeah, let me see. Let's talk about these emotions and thoughts. How are they? There was a crisis. There was something that's happening. People insulted me, screaming, yelled at me. How did I handle that compared to before? You go, good job. Or like, man, I screwed up. I slapped the guy. Okay. Mental note. People like to say note to self. Have you heard that before? Some of you do that. Note to self. The first thing you have to ask is, which self? I hear people, note to self. Okay, which self are you talking about? Who's making the note and who's receiving the note? Most people say, oh, it's just something I tell myself. Okay, who's the self? Oh, there's your problem. Make sense? That's why self-discovery is so important. You have to first ask, who am I? Some of you are going, here we go again. I'm going to hear that who am I type of deal. Too bad, buddy. You're going to hear it for the next how many lifetimes? Who am I? I'm a spiritual self having a physical form. That's what you call a physical body. You have an astral body or emotional body that allows you to feel feelings. You have a mental body that allows you to think. So the body, the emotions, and the thoughts are just vehicles of the I, the soul. So as the soul is evolving, the soul has to use the body, the emotions, and the thoughts to evolve with it. It's just like, again, you heard me say this before. If I want to travel on land, I get in a car, I go from here to there, a locomotive. I want to go on water. I can take the boat. The boat is my vehicle in water. I want to fly in the air. I use a plane or some rocket or whatever. So the I rides this airplane, aircraft, as my vehicle to travel in the air. Make sense? So just like the soul, in order to move around the physical world, it needs a physical vehicle, like a car, in this case, the physical body. To travel in the emotional world, or what they call the astral world, the soul travels around in a vehicle called the astral body, or just like a boat. In order to travel in the mental world, it needs a mental vehicle, just like you need a plane. That's very simple. You know, people write books, make it so darn complicated. That's all it is. And basically, what the soul has to do in learning lessons, the soul will use the body, the emotions. So just imagine these three vehicles to do what it needs to do, abstain from doing something that's stupid and doing something that's good to evolve. That's it. So when you say I am, who's the I am? It's the dude that's driving the car, captaining the boat, and piloting the plane. That's the I am. Simple. People make it so darn complicated. I've heard people talk about it in lectures for hours. I'm going, that could be said in 5 minutes. That's it. Now, the brilliance of that didn't come from me. I learned it from my teacher, who learned it from his teacher, and so on and so on. But the most important part of all is the spiritual self, the soul, evolving. So the journey is nothing more than the in and out of the spiritual self using these three vehicles to learn lessons, to evolve faster. So at the end of that lifetime, you should be able to look back and go, that was a good one. I learned to be more loving, more compassionate. I hurt people less. I became smarter. Whatever it is, you have to be look back and go, that was a good incarnation. Make sense? That's what you want. So the one that entered the journey, at the end of that particular journey, and returning back to source, is not the same one who went in. So let me end it with a story. This is from Charles Ledbetter. Okay? So with Charles Ledbetter, he's one of the teachers in the Theosophical Society. This story is like a baby, an infant, whatever, crawling to school. And the baby's crawling to school, and the teacher, principal, whatever, is at the door. Okay, welcome, come to school. And the teacher says, okay, you have 10 lessons to learn. Okay, go, go, go. The baby crawls in, goes in school. At the end of the day, that same baby is now an old man on a cane walking out. The teacher says, hey, it was a good day. Out of those 10, you learned 6. Very good. Come back tomorrow. The next morning, it's now a baby crawling again. And the teacher said, okay, yesterday you learned 6. You have 4 more to go. Okay, go, go, go. So the baby crawled in. At the end of the day, old man again comes out. It's a slow one, huh? You just learned 1. Man, yesterday you did good. Okay, okay, okay. So come back tomorrow. I'm dramatizing it, but that's the point. That baby is actually the soul. So when you enter a certain lifetime, we have certain lessons to learn. At the end of that lifetime, how many lessons have we learned? Some of them are fantastic. Oh man, I learned this, this, and this. Some of them were like, yeah, it's I kind of slacked off. Make sense? So each day is one lifetime. So the metaphor or story or analogy of that is the baby is the soul entering one incarnation, learning some lessons, coming back out. How many have I learned? So the question is, are you even aware the soul is learning? Or are you just like, well, I'm just trying to make a living. I'm just trying to do this. I'm trying to. Then if you do that, you're asleep like the rest of the population. Then you're wasting your time here. If you insist on staying asleep to who you are, then it'll be another wasted lifetime. We're being too negative. No, hopefully that little shock treatment will wake you up. Or pour cold water. Make sense? The key is awareness. Be aware, like, I'm awake. I'm the soul learning lessons. I am awake. and I realize I screwed up. Oop, I am aware that I did good. As you keep doing that, deepening it and deepening it and deepening it, you start noticing that your awareness is not just of the body, the emotions, the thoughts. Then you're able to absorb higher frequencies. You start being aware of more of the spiritual world while you're in the physical body. That's it. Make sense? So that process is called the process of enlightenment. It's called enlightenment. There are many reasons. I can give you books that you can read that'll blow your mind, or it's as simple as this: you are a being of light. That's it. You're a being of light. You're not plastic, rubber, metal, wood. You're not matter. Make sense? So you are a spiritual being made of light or pure consciousness and energy. So every day that we're learning lessons, we're getting closer and closer to that awakening, that realizing I am a being of light. That's what you call enlightenment. Now, to finish it off, as a metaphor, you have a 10-pound, no, I'm sorry, a 10-watt bulb, a 50-watt bulb, or you go to a stadium, you got, who knows, a 1,000-watt light bulb. So when somebody says, I'm enlightened, he has to say, how many watts? How bright? Because being enlightened just simply means, oh, I realize I'm not the body, the emotions, thought. I'm a being of light using this body, emotions, and thoughts. Great. So it's like a 10-watt bulb. Ding. Now, if you have the same thing as the Buddha, ding. I am a being of light for the last 5 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, and this light means I'm one with all, so I have a responsibility to enlighten and awaken all beings. That's like comparing a 10-watt bulb to the sun. So when people tell me I'm enlightened, I go, that's nice. Everybody has everyday enlightenment. The question is, does the bulb stay light? Does the bulb stay lit, or does it dim down? That is the challenge, and that's the journey. Shall we? To the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Mother, we thank you for the blessings to my teacher, Master Chokok Sui Mahaguji Meli, and all the spiritual elders, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, spiritual helpers. Thank you for your blessings. In full faith, so be it. You ready? Put your hand like this. Tap your crown. I am that. I am. I'm not the body. I'm not the emotion, not the thoughts. I am the soul. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. That is my true nature. I am that. A being of pure energy and light. Just be still. I'm connected in one to my higher soul, my higher self. I'm connected in one to the divine spirit in me. I am a child of God. That means we're all learning. I am one with God. That is our true nature. I'm one with all. There's only oneness. Just be still. Now imagine all of us are inside the big bright sun looking out into the solar system. Just say, we are one. Open your hands in blessing. Imagine the earth, or seeing just the earth. Be aware of your heart, your hands. Project beautiful pink light collectively and fill Mother Earth. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Wherever there's hatred anywhere in the world, let me sow love. Collectively be aware of your hearts and project beautiful pink light through the sun and filling every person, every being on earth with peace and with love. Where there's injury, let me sow pardon and forgiveness. Where there's doubt, let me sow faith. Where there's despair, let me sow hope. To all who are suffering, may all of you be blessed with hope and faith in a better tomorrow. so be it. Where there's darkness, let me sow light. And where there's sadness, let me sow joy. Our hearts are one, our souls are one, our spirits are one. There's only oneness. And in this oneness, may every person, every being on earth be blessed with peace, with love, with a spirit of forgiveness, with hope and with faith, with light and joy. So be it. And just be still and let the blessings flow through us. Now be aware of your heart. Inhale. Be aware of your crown. Exhale. And stay there. Your crown is filled with so much golden light. Just let the golden light flow down through your hands and fill the earth. From the heart of God, through my soul and through my entire being, may every person, every being on earth be blessed with love and kindness. Let all be blessed with great joy and happiness, with understanding, harmony, and divine peace. So it is. Just let the golden light flow through you. May all be blessed. So be it. May all be blessed without exception. Now, be aware of your heart, be aware of your crown simultaneously. Take a deep breath. Exhale, imagine even more brilliant light just pouring through us. We're inside the big bright sun, just pouring this ginormous tunnel of light pouring down into the earth. Flood your family with this golden light, especially the ones who are going through challenging times. Fill them with golden light. Empower them. Your friends, your loved ones, the people who have been very good to you, fill them with lots of beautiful golden light. Let that golden light spread to the entire country, the surrounding countries and areas. Let it fill the entire earth. From the center of the heart of God, through my soul, through my entire being, may every person, every being on earth be blessed with love and kindness. Let all be blessed with inner peace, inner healing. Let all be blessed with understanding, goodwill, and the willingness to do good. May all be blessed. So be it. So it is. Now just be still. Lower your hands on your lap. Keep your eyes closed. Imagine a beautiful golden sun, even brighter than the brightest light you've ever seen, just floating above your head. Look at that light and just silently say, I am that light. I don't have to go towards the light. I am a light. And that light is part of a greater light. I am that. That am I. Just keep looking at that light and just say, I am that. I am that. I am that light. That light am the real I. Be still. I am that. That light am I. I am that light. That light am I. I am that. That am I. The light I am is part of a greater light. Be still. And listen. Om. recognize your true nature. You are a being of light, part of a greater light. Be still. And since you are part of that greater light, that greater light is part of you. As I chant the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, you realize why it's the mantra of universal mercy and compassion, because of this sense of oneness. We're all one. Om Mani Padme Hum. Be still. Be aware of the light that is you. And just simply let go. And experience that light. Now. Gently, very slowly, very gently and slowly come back to your physical body. Gently move your fingers and your toes. Those are the furthest away from your crown. So as you move them, it allows the spiritual self to come in more. Okay? Now raise your hands. Imagine the people you love in your life. Fill them all with golden light. May all of them be blessed with good health, with happiness, with prosperity, and with spirituality. So be it. May all be blessed. So be it. Now be aware of your feet and the base of your spine. This is very important. Don't skip this one. This grounds you. Will help your finances. Put your golden light into the earth. Let our beloved Mother Earth be blessed with divine light, divine love, and divine power. Let our beloved Mother Earth be healed, regenerated, and revitalized. Blessings be to Mother Earth. So be it. Okay, let's give thanks to the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Mother, to all the spiritual elders, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, spiritual helpers. Personally, to my teacher, Master Chok Sui Mahagu Jimeling, thank you in full faith. And so it is. All right. We kind of added extra juice on that meditation. I hope you liked it. I know some of you go, I don't want to come back. Well, you might think you don't want to come back, but you have a physical form, you have an earthly life you still need to fulfill. Now, let me just add one more thing before you guys go. Some of you are having a slight challenge understanding what is this oneness. So let me just kind of put it in everyday terms to make it easier to understand. See, since we're fixated, our brains are fixated in the three-dimensional world. Everything we looked at is height, length, width, right? Everything you see, everything from, if I pick up this mobile phone, it's like, okay, this high, this thick, this wide. So in order for me to be here, I have to go there. I have to go here to there. That's because that's a three-dimensional world. Okay? Now, here's the interesting part. Once you go beyond the three dimensions, okay, you heard me talk about this, it's part of quantum mechanics. A lot of you have studied this already. Just imagine you have a cube, and every side of that cube, you add another cube. And you're seeing the entire thing simultaneously. That's at least fourth dimension. Some of you go, I can't wrap my head around. Exactly the point, because the brain is fixated on a form. Consciousness, however, is not. That's why when you're meditating, it's almost like I can sense being there, simultaneously. It's like having cameras everywhere, and they're all seeing everything simultaneously. You go, oh, my brain's about to explode. Well, here's my point. The more you do your meditation, the more you get into that part when they're silent, when it was silent, you're able to experience, yeah, it's so still and quiet. The more you get to experience that we're all connected. And once you have that realization we're connected, compassion normally flows out of you naturally. It's oversimplify. If your toe hurts, your entire body's affected. Right? You jam your toe, then you start going, oh yeah, it's also just the toe, but it affects your day, affects your everything else. Because you're one body. Make sense? Even though that's the toe, the head, the arm, everything gets affected. I mean, that's a very poor metaphor, but essentially, once you go into that level of stillness, you start to experience, if I'm experiencing this expansion, so is my mom, my dad, and everything, but they're asleep to it. But when they get on the spiritual path, they get to have that realization. It's just like you move them from the three dimensions to a higher dimension. That's when you realize we're all connected. So naturally, you have compassion for others, because having compassion for others is having compassion toward yourself. Make sense? So it's a completely different way of looking at it. Everybody's focusing on me, myself, and I'm this, I'm that. You notice when you come to our channel, we reverse it. As you show love and mercy, compassion towards others, as you do your meditation, you start to realize we're connected. And by being kind and loving to others, you're being kind to yourself. So instead of struggling to love yourself, love other people, you end up loving yourself. Ta-da! Anyway, namaste everyone. Thank you very much for joining us for this meditation, and we will see you Wednesday. And again, the schedule is kind of in flux. It depends on, if I can get away from the studio or not. And I'm very grateful that so many people are attending Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny. A lot of lives are being transformed before your eyes. It's just amazing. And so I encourage all of you, when you get a chance, definitely attend. Okay? Namaste. You all take care. I wish you much happiness and joy. And let me just leave you one thought, because I saw in one of the comments, yeah, every day I'm going to walk towards the light. You don't have to walk towards the light. You just have to realize you are a being of light. You don't have to walk anywhere. Think about it. And you don't have to go somewhere. All you have to do is be still and experience your true self right there and there. It's an unraveling that you're a being of light. Very different than I'm going to go towards somewhere. Something to think about. Namaste. Take care. Bye-bye.